Hey, so thanks for giving me a chance to share some more thoughts. I happened to catch this article today that came through about a Stanford University professor who had been, teaching quite successfully, lecturing at Stanford, and began at some point to produce his lectures for online viewing, and over time noticed that not only did the students that were taking his course first begin to also go online and look at those online lectures just to sort of enhance their learning, but sharing them with friends, and they started to log on. And before time, well, as time went on, he went from having about 200 students taking the class to 30, but the online viewers grew to well over 100,000, right? And it was incredibly popular. People from all over the world, not just Stanford, logging in and watching these lectures. And so evidently he's going to keep a sort of relationship with Stanford, but he's given up his tenure track position to go work, I think help found even an online university with the hope that he can reach, 500,000 people with his lectures. And I read this today and I thought two things. One thing he says in the article, which I really loved, was, I feel like, I had the choice, to take the red pill or the blue pill. And if you take the red pill, I hope I don't get these confused, which one is which, but it's like you can't go back, right? Once you've taken the pill that helps you see the future and what it could be and what it is to reach 500,000 people with your lecture that used to reach 30 people, you can't go back to old style lecturing, which was really set up for a different period of time, a different era. And it made me think about, the degree to which we deny ourselves the possibility of reaching more people so often, in part because we are, locked into simply an old idea about the best way to do that, and that a certain sort of relationship, people on stage, the professionals sort of speaking to the people out there in a certain kind of environment is really the only legitimate way to do that. And I'm excited by this story because I think it's not an and/or thing. It's not that there's not going to be any more lecturing, but it brings a whole new audience in. And I wonder about this sort of red pill, blue pill analogy as well, right? At some point, can we let ourselves sort of see the possibility in front of us if we could really just embrace what would happen if suddenly we just said, yes, what if anyone who wanted to could go online and on demand watch any performance that had also been done live, period, and then saw where that took us, right? And that sort of access, I guess, is exciting to me. And I guess if there were one other thing that's on my mind since reading all of these posts this week, I've been thinking about how we're often perhaps not honest about the real audience for our work, right? And I think there are some arts organizations who would probably say our work is for our community, our work is for the public. But actually, if you looked at their onion, to go back to that Becker metaphor that I wrote about in my post, they're really making work for other artists or for sort of a cultural elite, right? That's actually who they want to make work for. And that's legitimate. That's okay. An artist can wake up and say, that's who I want to make my work for. I'm not trying to appeal to everyone out there. This is who my work is intended to reach. And an organization, arguably, that's not, that doesn't have a mission to sort of serve the general good, could also set up and say, yes, that's why we exist, to support artists who want to create work for other artists and for a cultural elite. And it would be a much different conversation, I think, if we were honest about that, instead of what often happens is a kind of, saying we're for the public good, saying we want to be for the community, saying we want to be for everyone, when that's actually not the reality. And now I've been thinking, what if, when you went to apply for money from the NEA, it wasn't, the current categories that you can apply in, which I don't even know exactly what they are anymore. But, but if you could either be, sort of artist-centered, research and development, and you really were that. That really is what you're doing. That's first and foremost what you're about. Or community development, if you really are about that, or economic development. And I think about some of these, sort of large flagship organizations that are not really, taking a lot of artistic risks often. They're not set up to. They're also not grassroots community organizations, populists, but they do something really valuable. Restaurants are filled, the community is, civic pride is great, they get on the map, other people come to see them. And there should be value in that too. But I think it could also be good if we could encourage a kind of honesty and clarity, right, about where we fit in this picture. I think that would be a good step forward. So anyway, I probably rambled on too long, but thanks for giving me the chance to talk.